Okay, Sue.
Okay, so today we're on chapter 9, text 9. Nachaman tani karmani, nibaraha nati, dhyana yaha, udasinavad, asanam, ask tam tesu karmasu. O danyanya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached, seated as though neutral. One should not think in this connection that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no engagement. In his spiritual world, he is always engaged. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated, he is always involved in his eternal, blissful spiritual activities, but he has nothing to do with these material activities. Material activities are being carried on by his different potencies. The Lord is always neutral in the material activities of the created world. This neutrality is explained here. Although he has control over every minute detail of matter, he is sitting as if neutral. The example can be given of a high court judge sitting on his bench. By his orders, so many things are happening. Someone is being hanged, someone is being put into jail, someone is awarded a huge amount of wealth, but still he is neutral. He has nothing to do with all that gain and loss. Similarly, the Lord is always neutral, although he has his hand in every sphere of activity. In the Vedanta Sutra, it is stated that he is not situated in the dualities of this material world. He is transcendental to these dualities, nor is he attached to the creation and annihilation of this material world. The living entities take their different forms in the various species of life according to their past deeds, and the Lord doesn't interfere with them. Text 10. Maya Daksina Prakti. Suyati sa Karakaram Hatuna Nina Konteya Yagad Viparivitate. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all material and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. It is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord, although aloof from all the activities of the material world, remains the Supreme Director. The Supreme Lord is the supreme will and the background of this material manifestation, but the management is being conducted by material nature. Krishna also states in the Gita that of all the living entities in different forms and species, I am the Father. The Father gives seeds to the womb of the mother for the child. And similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his mere glance, injects all the living entities into the womb of material nature. And they come out in their different forms and species according to their last desires and activities. All of these living entities, although born under the glance of the Supreme Lord, still take their different bodies according to their past deeds and desires. So the Lord is not directly attached to this material creation. He simply glances over material nature. Material nature is thus activated, and everything is created immediately. Because he glances over material nature, there is undoubtedly activity on the part of the Supreme Lord, but he has nothing to do with the manifestation of the material world directly. This example is given in the Shmriti, Where there is a fragrant flower before someone, the fragrance is touched by the smelling power of the person. Yet the smelling and the flower are detached from one another. There is a similar connection between the material world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, he has nothing to do with this material world, but he creates by his glance and ordains. In summary, material nature without the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead cannot do anything. Yet, the Supreme Personality is detached from all material activities. Text 11. Ava jananti mam muda, manosim tanam ashritam, param bhavam ajanato, mama bhuta mahisvaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. From the other explanations of the previous verses in this chapter, it is clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing like a human being, is not a common man. The personality of Godhead, who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the complete cosmic manifestation, cannot be a human being. Yet there are many foolish men who consider Krishna to be merely a powerful man and nothing more. Actually, he is the original Supreme Personality, as is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Isvara Parama Krishna. He is the Supreme Lord. There are many Ishvaras, controllers, and one appears greater than another. In the ordinary management of affairs in the material world, we find some official or director, and above him there's a secretary, and above him a minister, and above him a president. Each of them is a controller, but one is controlled by another. And the Brahma Samhita, it is said that Krishna is the supreme controller. There are many controllers undoubtedly both in the material and spiritual world, but Krishna is the supreme controller. Ishvara Parama Krishna, and his body is Saksid Ananda, non-material. Material bodies cannot perform the wonderful acts described in previous verses. His body is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Although he is not a common man, the foolish deride him and consider him to be a man. His body is called here Manasim because he is acting just like a man, a friend of Arjuna's, a politician involved in the battle of Kurukshetra. In so many ways, he is acting just like an ordinary man, but actually, his body is Saksid Ananda Vigraha, eternal bliss and knowledge absolute. This is confirmed in the Vedic language also. Saksid Ananda Rupaya Krishnaya. I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is the eternal blissful form of knowledge. There are other descriptions in the Vedic language also. Tam ikam govindam. You are Govinda, the pleasure of the senses and the cows. Saksid anandam vigramham, and your form is transcendental, full of knowledge, bliss, and eternality. Despite the transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna's body, its full bliss and knowledge, there are many so-called scholars and commentators of the Gita who deride Krishna as an ordinary man. The scholar may be born an extraordinary man due to his previous good work, but this conception of Sri Krishna is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Therefore, he is called Muda, for only foolish persons consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being, because they don't know the confidential activities of the Supreme Lord and his different energies. They do not know that Krishna's body is a symbol of complete knowledge and bliss, that he is the proprietor of everything that be, and that he can award liberation to anyone. Because they do not know that Krishna has so many transcendental qualifications, they deride him. Nor do they know that the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this material world is a manifestation of his internal energy. He is the master of the material energy. As has been explained in several places, Mama Maya Durataya, he, he claims that the material energy, although very powerful, is under his control, and whoever surrenders onto him can get out of the control of this material energy. If a soul surrendered to Krishna can get out of the influence of material energy, then how can the Supreme Lord, who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the whole cosmic nature, have a material body like us? So this conception of Krishna is complete foolishness. Foolish persons, however, cannot conceive that the personality of the Godhead, Krishna, appearing just like an ordinary man, can be the controller of all the atoms and of the gigantic manifestation of universal form. The biggest and the minutest are beyond their conception. So they cannot imagine that a form like that of a human being can simultaneously control the infinite and the minute. Actually, although he is controlling the infinite and the finite, he is apart from all this manifestation. It is clearly stated concerning his yogam aisvaram, his inconceivable transcendental energy, that he can control the infinite and the finite simultaneously, and that he can remain aloof from them. Although the foolish cannot imagine how Krishna, who appears just like a human being, can control the infinite and the finite, those who are pure devotees accept this, for they know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, they completely surrender onto him and engage in Krishna consciousness, devotional service of the Lord. There are many controversies among the impersonalists and the personalists about the Lord's appearance as a human being. But if we consult the Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, the authoritative text for understanding the science of Krishna, then we can understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. He is not an ordinary man, although he appeared on this earth as an ordinary human. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, when the sages inquire about the activities of Krishna, it is stated that his appearance as a man bewilders the foolish. No human could perform the wonderful acts that Krishna performed while he was present on this earth. When Krishna appeared before his father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki, he appeared with 4 hands, but after the prayers of the parents, he transformed himself into an ordinary child. His appearance as an ordinary human being is one of the features of his transcendental body. In the 11th chapter of the Gita, also it is stated, Tena Eva, Rupina, and so on. Arjuna prayed to see again that form of 4 hands. And when Krishna was thus petitioned by Arjuna, he again assumed his original form. All these different features of the Supreme Lord are certainly not those of an ordinary human being. Some of those who deride Krishna, who are infected with the Mayavadi philosophy, quote the following verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam to prove that Krishna is just an ordinary man. Aham sarvesu bhutesu bhutamavastita sada. The Supreme is present in every living entity. We should better take note of this particular verse from the Vaisnava Acharas, like Jiva Goswami, instead of following the interpretation of unauthorized persons who deride Krishna. Jiva Goswami, commenting on this verse, says that Krishna, in his plenary expansion as Paramatta, is situated in the moving and non-moving entities as the supersoul. So any neophyte devotee who simply gives his attention to the Arka Murti, the form of the Supreme Lord in the temple, and does not respect other living entities, is uselessly worshiping the form of the Lord in the temple. There are 3 kinds of devotees of the Lord. and the neophyte is the lowest stage. The neophyte devotee gives more attention to the deity in the temple than to other devotees. So Jiva Goswami warns that this sort of mentality should be corrected. A devotee should see that Krishna is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma. Therefore, everybody is the embodiment or the temple of the Supreme Lord. And as such, as one offers respect to the temple of the Lord, he should similarly properly respect each and everybody in whom the Paramatma dwells. Everyone should therefore be given proper respect and should not be neglected. There are also many impersonalists who deride temple worship. They say that since God is everywhere, why should one restrict himself to temple worship? But if God is everywhere, is he not in the temple or in the deity? Although the personalist and the impersonalist will fight with each other perpetually, a perfect devotee in Krishna consciousness knows that although Krishna is the Supreme Personality, he is all pervading, as is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Although his personal abode is the Golaka Vrindavana, and he is always staying there, still by his different manifestations of energy and by his planetary expansion, he is present everywhere in all parts of the material and spiritual creation. How are we doing on time?
I think we can pause here unless you want to keep going.
We could, or I could read one more. What is good? Because
all right, read one more. Read.
Okay, so here we are now on text 12. Moghasa Moga Karmano Moga Jana Vishtashta Raksamin Asuram Keva Prakrim Mohinam Shrita. Those who are thus bewildered and are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. There are many devotees who assume themselves to be in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, but at heart do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, as the absolute truth. For them, the fruit of devotional service, going back to Godhead, will never be tasted. Similarly, those who are engaged in fruitive, pious activities and who are ultimately hoping to be liberated from this material entanglement will never be successful either, because they deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. In other words, persons who mock Krishna are to be understood to be demonic or atheistic. As described in the 7th chapter of the Gita, such demonic miscreants never surrender to Krishna. Therefore, their mental speculations to arrive at the absolute truth bring them to the false conclusion that the ordinary living entity and Krishna are one and the same. With such a false conviction, they think that the body of any human being is now simply covered by material nature, and that as soon as one is liberated from this material body, there is no difference between God and himself. This attempt to become one with Krishna will be baffled because of delusion. Such atheistic and demonic cultivation of spiritual knowledge is always futile. That is the indication of this verse. For such persons, cultivation of the knowledge in the Vedic literature, like the Vedantam Sutra and the Upanishads, is always baffled. It is a great offense, therefore, to consider Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to be an ordinary man. Those who do so are certainly deluded because they can't understand the eternal form of Krishna. In the Brad Vaishnava mantra, it is clearly stated that those who consider the body of Krishna to be material should be driven out from all rituals and activities of the Shruti. And if one by chance sees his face, he should at once take bath in the Ganges to rid himself of infection. People jeer at Krishna because they're envious of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Their destiny is certainly to take birth after birth in the species of atheistic and demonic life. Perpetually, their real knowledge will remain under delusion, and gradually they will regress to the darkest regions of creation.
Thank you, Sue.
Okay, so Monday, it would be text 13, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I love when you read. I love listening to you read, and I'm jealous of your grandson because I can imagine how many books and stories you'll be reading to him. And I'm sure you've been doing it over Zoom, so I'm sure he'll recognize your voice.
Yes, he already has a famous author, Sandra Boynton, moo boo moo boo ba la la or something like that. So yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be it will be fun. I already told my husband, I may not fly back with you.
I feel like we might not see you again.
No, you'll see me again, but it's
There's nothing like coming home, and like Domenica's son, you can always go back.
yes, it's true.
It is a long flight, but they're moving to Pittsburgh or somewhere. Where are they moving?
They're moving to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, which is only about 2 hours and 20 minutes
Oh,
from
that's even closer than Pittsburgh. Yeah. When
Yeah.
are they moving?
They'll be coming back east probably in July, but moving into Bethlehem in early August.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm very glad they're going to be closer.
Me too. I'm glad for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
You're going to it's California, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Southern California is where they're located now. So it's good. I will enjoy my visit to Southern California also. I mean, it's a lovely place. Overpopulated and crazy Looney Tunes out there, but man, there's crazy Looney Tunes everywhere. So I enjoy that particular version of Looney Tunes. So.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice when it's just constantly nice weather too.
Oh my Lord, every morning you wake up and it's as someone once told me, it's another effing beautiful day. I thought, live through winter in Buffalo and then say that, Anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's almost like they get sick of it. They say it all the time. They're like, oh, the sun again.
Exactly. And it's sort of like, shut up.
Yeah.
But what was interesting about this, the first, not the last couple of slokas, but the first couple from today, it was a really nice description of free will, how there can be free will and how there can be uncontrolled activities, despite the fact they're depicting a Godhead who controls everything and who is everything. And it was a really nice depiction of free will. And I thought, how about that? It's hard to talk about free will, but they did it. It's almost like it's like he's this giant producer and director who sets up the stage, provides everything you need on the stage, and then says, okay, guys, go to it, and then backs off, and it's yeah, I thought that was rather interesting. And then they spent all of this time talking about whether or not the body, when Krishna appears, is it just a regular man-like body, or is it, Lord-like? And I thought, why are they bothering with that? There must have been some kind of discussion going on at the time, that when this was written, that became a really relevant discussion.
Yeah, I kept getting a little confused with that because I think they were saying that God is in everyone. I feel like I might have to reread it in a quiet setting. Like, were they saying that he is or isn't? Because then they went into like a different
I think they were referring back to, do you remember earlier on, they talked about the super soul and the atomic soul, and the atomic soul was like the little tiny bit of Krishna that's in everything and in
Yeah.
every living thing. So I think what they were emphasizing that it's there, but that doesn't, just because it's there and it's a part of you, or it's a part of, you know, Kramer, for example, doesn't mean that Kramer is Krishna, you know,
Yeah.
because Krishna is so very much more, or at least that's what I think it's saying.
Well, I just kept thinking of the Ram Dass quote that says, picture everyone as God in drag. And I'm like, well, why? So, like, I thought that we all did have Krishna inside of us, like some sort of it. Yeah. So, like, but it seemed very harsh that they were like calling me stupid almost for thinking of it that way with Krishna. I don't think Krishna is like a human person, but oh, I just closed my place. But I don't know. I think I just have to reread it. I heard what they were saying with Krishna in us, and I believe that part of it. I think I just kept getting confused when they were talking about the full human form of Krishna. But I agree with you, Sue, and I do think it's funny when they say, like, when they refer to the Brahma Samhita, and they were like, it was in the Brahma Samhita, so it's true. Like, it said it in that book, so it's true. And like, I just sometimes I like want to believe it, but that kind of language just constantly always has me rolling my eyes over here. It's just like from the way we grow up. But I've never read that book. But I loved what you just said about free will, because I do think freedom is a huge theme of this book. And like it's a huge theme of this book, but I feel like it's a huge theme of life, like humans being free and tying. So I've been thinking about freedom and religion or faith, or however you want to look at it, and I haven't been able to like thread them together yet because I haven't learned enough. I think we'll learn more as the book goes on. But yeah, so, and I like that what you said about the free will part of it. I agree with you.
You know, remember the metaphor that Amanda said one of her teachers told her, that we're all on a really long airplane flight to Hawaii. So the fact that we're leaving from one place and going to some place in Hawaii is a given, and that's predetermined. But what happens on that flight is not, you know. So I keep on, well, that brought to mind that metaphor.
Yeah, that's a good. The problem I have with the freedom is that, for example, like somebody that has their freedom, like I feel like there's two instances of freedom, and this is going to be a longer discussion, so I don't want to get into it today, but just somebody that's like in prison, maybe because they didn't do anything wrong, like their freedom has been taken from them. But is this freedom that they're talking about a different type of freedom? Like, they can still have freedom. I guess it's still like how they handle themselves in that situation. Because like I don't know. It's just something I have to sit and think about more. But I will. It's part of the reason why I wanted to read this version of the Gita and study it. So, all right, let's do some breath, unless anyone else has anything to share. Okay. I can't believe it's Friday. I'm so excited. So sit up nice and tall. Taking a few rounds of breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Relaxing the features on the face, letting the breath flow evenly in through the nose as you inhale and then out. Then bring your right hand over to the nose. Close the right nostril with the thumb. Inhale through the left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. 2 more rounds on your own breath. You'll take as many rounds as you need. When you're done, you'll exhale at the left side. I'm going to set the timer and you'll join us when you're ready. Bringing your hands to your heart. Namaste.